Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Rags. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels not half so happy in heaven went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels of heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I see the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life, and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the side of the sea. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Besides the Autumn, Poets Sing by Emily Dickinson. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. Besides the autumn, poets sing, a few prosaic days, a little this side of the snow and that side of the haze, a few incisive mornings, a few aesthetic eyes, gone Mr. Bryant's goldenrod and Mr. Thompson's sheaves. Still is the bustle in the brook, sealed are the spicy valves, mesmeric fingers softly touch the eyes of many elves. Perhaps a squirrel may remain, my sentiments to share. Grant me, O Lord, a sunny mind, thy windy will to bear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Consecrated Life by Frances Ridley Havergal. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to Thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in ceaseless praise. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of Thy love. Take my feet and let them be swift and beautiful for Thee. Take my voice and let me sing always only for my King. Take my lips and let them be filled with messages from Thee. Take my silver and my gold, not a mite would I withhold. Take my intellect and use every power as Thou shalt choose. Take my will and make it Thine, it shall be no longer mine. Take my heart, it is Thine own, it shall be Thy royal throne. Take my love, my Lord, I pour at Thy feet its treasure store. Take myself, and I will be ever only all for Thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Death of Raschi by Emma Lazarus. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. August 8, 2024. The Death of Raschi. Aaron Ben Mir, loquitur. If I remember Raschi, and I live, grandson to bless thy grandchild, I'll forget never that youth and what he did for Prague. I know, he slurred a certain verse, in such and such a prayer, omitted quiet to stand erect, there where the ritual commands us rise and bow towards the east. Therefore, the ingrates brand him heterodox, neglect his memory whose virtue saved each knave of us alive. Not I forget, no more does God, who wrought a miracle for his dear sake. The Passover was here. Raschi, just wedded with the fair Rebecca, bode but the lapsing of the Holy Week, for homeward journey with his bride to France. The sacred meal was spread, all sat at board, within the house of Rabbi Yochanan, the kind old priest, his noble new-found son, whose name was rung in every key of praise, by every voice in Prague, from duke to serf, save the vindictive bigot Narzarad, the beautiful young wife, whose cup of joy sparkled at brim. Next her the vacant chair awaited the Messiah, who unannounced, in God's good time shall take his place with us. Now when the rabbi reached the verse where one shall rise from table, flinging wide the door, to give the prophet entrance, if so be the glorious hour have sounded, Raschi rose, pale, grave, yet glad but great expectancy, crossed the hushed room, and with a joyous smile, to greet the Savior, opened the door. A curse, a cry revenged, a thrust, a stifled moan, the sheathing of a poniard, that was all. In the dark vestibule, a fleeing form, masked, gowned in black, and in the room of prayer, Raschi, face downward on the stone-cold floor, bleeding his life out. Oh, what a cry was that! Folk shuddered hearing rudes off in the street, wherewith Rebecca rushed to raise her lord, kneeling beside him, striving in vain to quench, with turban veil, torn shreds of gown, stained hands, the black blood sickening gush. He never spoke, never rewarded with one glance of life, the passion in her eyes. He met his end, e'en as beneath the sickle the full ear bows to its death, so beautiful, silent, ripe. Well, we poor Jews must gulp our injuries, howe'er they choke us, but redress in Prague for the inhuman murder. A strange Jew, the victim, the suspected criminal, the ducal counselor. Such odds forbade revenge or justice. We forbore to seek. The priest discrowned of the glory of his age. The widow bride, mourned as though smitten of God, gave forth they would but solemn obsequies, bury their dead, and crave no help from man. Now of what chanced betwixt the night of murder and the appointed burial I can give only the sum of gossip, servants' tales, neighbors' reports, close confidences leaked from friends and kindred. Night and day folk said. Rebecca wept, prayed, fasted by the corpse. 3 mortal days. Upon the third her eyes, sunk in their pits, glimmered with wild strange fire. She started from her place beside the dead, kissed clay-cold brow, cheeks, lids, and lips once more, and with a maniac's wan, heart-breaking smile, veiled, hooded, glided through the twilight streets. A sable shadow. From the willow grove, close by the Moldau's brink, beyond the bridge, her trace was lost. 'Twas evening in mild May, air full of spring, skies perfect as a pearl. Yet one who saw her pass amidst the shades, while the blue-gray branches swears a sudden flame, as of miraculous lightning thrilled through heaven. 1 hour thereafter she re-entered Prague, slid swiftly through the streets, as though borne on by ankle wings or floating on soft cloud, smiling no more, but with illumined eyes, transfigured brow, grave lips, and faltering limbs. So came into the room where Raschi lay, stretched twixt tall tapers lit at head and foot. She held in both hands leafy, flowerless plants. Some she had fastened in her twisted hair, stuck others in her girdle, and from all issued a racy odor, pungent sweet. the living soul of spring. Death's chamber seemed as though clear sunshine and a singing bird therein had entered. From the precious herb she poured into a golden bowl the sap, sparkling like wine. Then with a soundless prayer, white as the dead herself, she held the cup to Raschi's mouth. A quick, small flame sprang up from the enchanted balsam, died away. And lo, the color dawned in cheek and lips. The life returned, the sealed, blind lids were raised. And in the glorious eyes love reawoke, and looking up met love. So runs the tale, mocked by the worldly wise. But I believe, knowing the miracles the Lord hath wrought, in every age for Jacob's seed. Moreover, I, with the highest and meanest Jew in Prague, was at the burial. No man saw the dead. Sealed was the coffin ere the rites began, and none could swear it went not empty down into the hollow earth. Too shrewd our priest to publish such a wonder, and expose that consecrated life to second death. Scarce were the 30 days of mourning sped, when we awoke to find his home left bare. Rebecca and her father fled from Prague. God grant they had glad meeting otherwhere. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Dream, J.M.V.B. by Rupert Buxton. Read for LibriVox.org by MoonLylith. He came towards me through the glistening grass, under a waning moon, as bright hopes pass up the swift years and leave a track of fire, so that we gaze, and, failing, yet aspire to that long noon of happiness, whose sun burns in the heaven that our hopes have won. Leaves whispered in the warm, damp breath of night, and treetops shivered as the pale moonlight sank in that grayness whence the dawn appears, home of uneasy dreams and phantom fears, when longing stirs us deepest, and regret brings to our hearts what most we would forget. He came with that same smile upon his face, that glowing smile of love, that joy to trace all of the good in man, that smile of youth softened by thoughtfulness, that smile of truth that illumines life, those kind, grave eyes in which truth lives, before which falsehood dies. He gazed beyond me, wrapped in ecstasy, out on the deep blue hills, whose panoply hung like a cloud dome on the unmembered plain, and, gazing thus, his wonder turned to pain, and so he vanished. Beauty and regret live not together here, but lives he yet? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Epistle by Emma Lazarus. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. An Epistle. From Joshua ibn Vives of Alorci to his former master, Solomon Levi Paul de Santa Maria, Bishop of Cartagena, Chancellor of Castile, and Privy Councillor to King Henry III of Spain. In this poem I have done little more than elaborate and versify the account given in Graetz's History of the Jews, Volume 8, page 77, of an epistle actually written in the beginning of the 15th century by Joshua ben Joseph ibn Vives to Paulus de Santa Maria. E.L. 1. Master and sage, greetings and health to thee, from thy most meek disciple. Deign once more, endure me at thy feet, enlighten me, as when upon my boyish head of yore, midst the rapt circle gathered round thy knee, my sacred vials of learning thou didst pour. By the large lustre of thy wisdom orbed, be my black doubts illumined and absorbed. 2. Oft I recall that golden time when thou, born for no second station, held'st with us the rabbi's chair, who art priest and bishop now, and we, the youth of Israel curious, hung on thy counsels, lifted reverent brow, unto thy sanctity, would fain discuss with thee our Talmud problems good and evil, till started by the risen stars or Seville. 3. For on the synagogue's high-pillared porch thou didst hold session, till the sudden sun beyond day's purple limit dropped his torch. Then we, as dreamers, woke to find outrun time's rapid sands, the flame that may not scorch our hearts caught from thine eyes, thou shining one. I sent not yet sweet lemon groves in flower, but I rebreathed the peace of that deep hour. 4. We kissed the sacred borders of thy gown, brow aureoled with thy blessing. We went forth through the hushed byways of the twilight town. Then in all life but one thing seemed of worth, to seek, find, love the truth. She set her crown upon thy head, our master, at thy birth. She bade thy lips drop honey, fired thine eyes with the unclouded glow of sun-steeped skies. 5. Forgive me if I dwell on that which viewed from thy new vantage ground must seem a mist of error by auroral youth endued with alien luster. Still in me subsist those reeking vapors. Faith and gratitude still lead me to the hand my boy lips kissed, for benison and guidance. Not in wrath, master, but in wise patience point my path. 6. For I, thy servant, gather in one sheaf the venom shafts of slander, which thy word shall shrivel to small dust. If haply grief or momentary pain I deal, my lord, blame not thy servant's zeal, nor be thou deaf unto my soul's blind cry for light. Accord, pitying my love, if too superb to care for hate's soiled name, an answer to my prayer. 7. To me, who, vine to stone, clung close to thee, the very base of life appeared to quake, when first I knew thee fallen from us, to be a tower of strength among our foes, to make twixt Jew and Jew deep cloven enmity. I have wept gall and blood for thy dear sake, but now with temperate soul I calmly search motive and cause that bound thee to the church. 8. For motives possible, therefore I reach ambition, doubt, fear, or mayhap conviction. I here in turn ascribe to thee all in each, by ignorant folk who part not truth from fiction. But I, who mean thyself didst stoop to teach, may poise the scales, weigh this with that confliction, yea, sift the hid-grained motive from the dense, dusty, eye-blinding chaff of consequence. 9. Ambition first, I find no fleck thereof in all thy clean soul. What, could glory, gold, or sated senses lure thy lofty love? No purple cloak to shield thee from the cold, no jeweled sign to flicker there above, and dazzle men to homage, joys untold, of spiritual treasure, grace divine. Alone, so saidst thou, coveting for thine. 10. I saw thee mount with deprecating air, step after step, unto our Jewish throne, of supreme dignity, the rabbi's chair. Shrinking from public honors thrust upon thy meek desert, regretting even there the placid habit of thy life foregone. Silence obscure, vast peace in austere days, passed in wise contemplation, prayer, and praise. 11. One less than thou had ne'er known such regret. How must thou suffer who so loves to shade in fame's full glare, whom one stride more shall set upon the papal seat? I stand dismayed, familiar with thy fearful soul, and yet half glad, perceiving modest worth repaid, e'en by the Christians, could thy soul deflect. No, no, thrice no, ambition I reject. 12. Next doubt. Could doubt have swayed thee, then I ask, how enters doubt within the soul of man? Is it a door that opens, or a mask that falls? And truth's resplendent face we scan. Nay, 'tis a creeping, small, blind worm whose task is gnawing at faith's base. The whole vast plan rots, crumbles, eaten inch by inch within, and on its ruins falsehood springs and sin. 13. But thee no doubt confused, no problems vexed. Thy father's faith for thee proved bright and sweet. Thou foundst no rite superfluous, no text obscure. The path was straight before thy feet, till thy baptismal day, thou, unperplexed, by foreign dogma didst our prayers repeat. Honor the God of Israel, fast and feast. Mean as thy peoples want from first to least. 14. Yes, doubt I likewise must discard. Not sleek, full-faced, direct of head, men walk when doubt rides at their entrails. Pinched and lean of cheek, with brow pain-branded thou hadst straight about, as midst live men a ghost condemned to seek, that soul he may nor live nor die without. No doubts the font washed from thee, thou didst glide from creed to creed, complete, sane-souled, clear-eyed. 15. Thy pardon, master, if I dare sustain the thesis thou couldst entertain of fear. I would but rout thine enemies, who fain ignoble impulse prompteth thy career. I will but weigh the chances and make plain to envy's self the monstrous jest appear. Though time, place, circumstance, confirmed in seeming, one word from thee should frustrate all their scheming. 16. Was Israel glad in Seville on the day thou didst renounce him? Then mightst thou indeed snap finger at whate'er thy slanderers say. Loathly must I admit, just then the seed of Jacob chanced upon a grievous way. Still from the wounds of that red year we bleed. The curse had fallen upon our heads, the sword was whetted for the chosen of the Lord. 17. There where we flourished like a fruitful palm, we were uprooted, spoiled, lopped limb from limb, a bolt undreamed of out of heaven's calm. So cracked our doom, we were destroyed by him, whose hand since childhood we had clasped. With balm our head had been anointed, at the brim our cup ran over. Now our day was done, our blood flowed free as water in the sun. 18. Midst the 4,000 of our tribe who held glad homes in Seville, never a one was spared. Some slaughtered at their hearthstones, some expelled to Moorish slavery. Cunningly ensnared, baited and trapped were we. Their fierce monks yelled and thundered from our synagogues, while flared the cross above the ark. Ah, happiest they, who fell unconquered martyrs on that day. 19. For some, I write it with flushed cheek, bowed head, given free choice twixt death and shame, chose shame. Denied the God who visibly had led their fathers, pillared in a cloud of flame. Bathed in baptismal waters, ate the bread, which is their new Lord's body, took the name, Moranos the accursed, whom equally Jew, Moor, and Christian hate, despise, and flee. 20. Even one no less than in our Barbanel, prized miserable length of days, above integrity of soul, midst such who fell. Far be it, however, from my duteous love, master, to reckon thee. Thine own lips tell how fear nor torture thy firm will could move, how thou midst panic no eyes disconcerted, by Thomas of Aquinas wast converted. 21. Truly I know no more convincing way to read so wise an author than was thine, when burning synagogues changed night to day, and red swords underscored each word and line. That was a light to read by. Who'd gainsay authority so clearly stamped divine? On this side, death and torture, flame and slaughter. On that, a harmless wafer and clean water. 22. Thou couldst not fear extinction for our race, though Christian sword and fire from town to town flash double-bladed lightning to efface Israel's image, though we bleed, burn, drown through Christendom. 'Tis but a scanty space. Still are the Asian hills and plains our own. Still are we lords in Syria, still are free, nor doomed to be abolished utterly. 23. One sole conclusion hence at last I find, thou whom ambition, doubt, nor fear could swerve, perforce hast been persuaded through the mind, proved, tested the new dogmas, found them serve thy spirit's needs, left flesh and sense behind, accepted without shrinking or reserve, the transubstantial bread and wine, the Christ, at whose shrine thine own kin were sacrificed. 24. Here then the moment comes when I crave light. All's dark to me. Master, if I be blind, thou shalt unseal my lids and blast with sight. Or groping in the shadows, I shall find, whether within me or without, dwell night. O cast upon my doubt-bewildered mind one ray from thy clear heaven of sun-bright faith, grieving, not wroth, at what thy servant saith. 25. Where are the signs fulfilled whereby all men should know the Christ? Where is the wide-winged peace, shielding the lamb within the lion's den? The freedom broadening with the wars that cease? Do foes clasp hands in brotherhood again? Where is the promised garden of increase, when like a rose the wilderness should bloom? Earth is a battlefield, and Spain a tomb. 26. Our God of Sabaoth is an awful God, of lightnings and of vengeance, Christians say. Earth trembled, nations perished at his nod. His law has yielded to a milder sway. Theirs is the God of love whose feet have trod our common earth. Draw near to him and pray. Meek-faced, dove-eyed, pure-browed, the Lord of life. Know him and kneel, else at your throat the knife. 27. This is the God of love, whose altars reek with human blood, who teaches men to hate, torture past words, or sins we may not speak, wrought by his priests behind the convent grate. Are his priests false, or are his doctrines weak, that none obeys him? State at war with state, church against church, yea, pope at feud with pope, and these tossed seas what anchorage for hope? 28. Not only for the sheep without the fold is the knife whetted, who refused to share blessings the shepherd wise doth not withhold, e'en from the least among his flock, but there, midmost, the pale dissensions manifold. Lamb flaying lamb, fierce sheep that rend and tear. Master, if thou to thy pride's goal should come, where wouldst thou throne, at Avignon or Rome? 29. I handle burning questions, good my lord, such as may kindle faggots, well I wis. Your gospel not denies our older word, but in a way completes and betters this. The law of love shall supersede the sword. So runs the promise, but the facts I miss. Already needs this wretched generation a voice divine, a new third revelation. 30. 2 popes and their adherents fulminate, ban against ban, and to the nether hell condemn each other, while the nations wait their Christ to thunder forth from heaven, and tell who is his rightful vicar, reinstate his throne, the hideous discord to dispel. Where shall I seek, master, while such things be? Celestial truth, revealed certainty. 31. Not miracles I doubt, for how dare man, chief miracle of life's mystery, say he knows? How may he closely secret causes scan, who learns not whence he comes nor where he goes? Like one who walks in sleep a doubtful span, he gropes through all his days, till death unclose his cheated eyes, and in one blinding gleam wakes to discern the substance from the dream. 32. I say not therefore I deny the birth, the virgin's motherhood, the resurrection, who know not how mine own soul came to earth, nor what shall follow death. Man's imperfection may bound not e'en in thought the height and girth of God's omnipotence. Neath his direction we may approach his essence, but that he should dwarf himself to us, it cannot be. 33. The God who balances the clouds, who spread the sky above us like a molten glass, the God who shut the sea with doors, who laid the cornerstone of earth, who caused the grass spring forth upon the wilderness, and made the darkness scatter and the night to pass. But he should clothe himself with flesh, and move midst worms a worm, this sun, moon, stars disprove. 34. Help me, O thou who wast my boyhood's guide. I bend my exile-weary feet to thee. Teach me the indivisible to divide. Show me how 3 are 1, and 1 is 3. How Christ to save all men was crucified. Yet I and mine are damned eternally. Instruct me, sage. My virtue starves alone, while falsehood step by step ascends the throne. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Gems by Augustus Treadwell. Read for LibriVox.org by Julie Ann Thompson. Varied and rare are the gems of earth, and found in every form. There are gems of nature, diamonds bright, rubies and pearls and crystals light, with richest colors to dazzle the sight in sunshine and in storm. There are gems of flowers with beauty decked and fragrance all aglow, from the brilliant rose to the lily bell and lotus, queen of eastern dell, whose petals budding, blooming swell as summer breezes blow. There are gems of thought, surpassing deep, that soar to loftiest themes, compass the azure vaults on high, roam at will through the deep blue sky, and puzzle the brains of you and I with high-born heavenly dreams. There are gems of kindness, deeds of love, though far too few, I ween, that bless the lives of the humble poor, who the rugged ills of life endure, and cause to grow by life's garden door bright meadows of verdant green. O grant thou, giver of every good, to me may e'er be given a contented heart, life's richest prize, and a soul that ever would upward rise in aspiration toward the skies, its own, its native heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Gong by Beatrice Ravenel. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Love hums in your veins with the deep and heartening sound of a temple gong, the gong of Daïnopon, that fused into perfect, fastidious harmony when a girl had flung into the quag of its white-hot metal her rhythm of passionate life. In the dead hours of the day, when men doubt themselves, when the acrid sunlight appraises them and finds them without due significance, you touch for your own reassurance the gong, and its soft-toned thunder, musical, purple, true as earth's center, dignity, power, conviction, imposes its harmony. One may believe in oneself without insulting intelligence. Life may be full of distinction, of ordered beauty and magic, and you are the master. The rhythm of blood and of spirit run true. When has she failed you? When withheld immolation in the fiery quicksand? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Here dead lie we, because we did not choose. By A. E. Housman, 1859-1936. Read for LibriVox.org by Dale Grothmann. Here dead lie we, because we did not choose to live and shame the land from which we sprung. Life, to be sure, is nothing much to lose, but young men think it is, and we were young. End of poem. This poem is in the public domain.
The Holy Snowdrops by George MacDonald. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The Holy Snowdrops. Of old, with goodwill from the skies, the holy angels came. They walked the earth with human eyes and passed away in flame. But now the angels are withdrawn because the flowers can speak. With Christ we see the dayspring dawn in every snowdrop meek. God sends them forth, to God they tend, not less with love they burn, that to the earth they lowly bend, and unto dust return. No miracle in them hath place, for this world is their home. At utterance of essential grace, the angel snowdrops come. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
Hope by Rupert Buxton. Read for LibriVox.org by MoonLylith. Shall we meet again, dear friend, when the winter's at an end, and spring goes dancing down the woodland ways? When the old gray, tired earth wakens at her sunny mirth, and smiles to think of golden summer days? Shall we meet again, dear friend, when the blossomed branches bend and woo the earth with perfumed sighs and weep their beautiful starry tears? When the last red sunbeam peers at the first red rose of summer in her sleep? Shall we meet again, dear friend, when the leaves of autumn blend their fiery tints with evening skies of gold? When the dews are on the grass, and the west winds softly pass and breathe no whisper of the winter's cold? We shall meet again, I'm sure, for the gifts of God endure eternally beyond the reach of pain. And if you should die, I know, ere the light of hope burns low, your spirit will come back to me again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
How Samson Bore Away the Gates of Gaza by Vachel Lindsay. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. A Negro Sermon. Once in a night as black as ink, she drove him out when he would not drink. Round the house there were men in wait, asleep in rows by the Gaza gate. But the Holy Spirit was in this man, like a gentle wind he crept and ran. It is midnight, said the big town clock. He lifted the gates up post and lock. The hole in the wall was high and wide, when he bore away old Gaza's pride into the deep of the night. The bold Jack Johnson Israelite, Samson, the judge, the Nazarite. The air was black like the smoke of a dragon. Samson's heart was as big as a wagon. He sang like a shining golden fountain. He sweated up to the top of the mountain. He threw down the gates with a noise like judgment, and the quails all ran with the big arousement. But he wept, I must not love tough queens, and spend on them my hard-earned means. I told that girl I would drink no more, therefore she drove me from her door. Oh, sorrow, sorrow I cannot hide. O Lord, look down from your chariot side. You made me judge, and I am not wise. I am weak as a sheep for all my size. Let Samson be coming into your mind. The moon shone out, the stars were gay. He saw the foxes run and play. He rent his garments, he rolled around in deep repentance on the ground. Then he felt the honey in his soul. Grace abounding made him whole. Then he saw the Lord in the chariot blue. The gorgeous stallion whinnied and flew. The iron wheels hummed an old hymn tune, and crunched in thunder over the moon. And Samson shouted to the sky, my Lord is riding high. Like a steed he pawed the gates with his hoof. He rattled the gates like rocks on the roof, and danced in the night on the mountain top, danced in the deep of the night. The judge, the holy Nazarite, whom ropes and chains could never bind. Let Samson be coming into your mind. Whirling his arms like a top he sped, his long black hair flew round his head, like an outstretched net of silky cord, like a wheel of the chariot of the Lord. Let Samson be coming into your mind. Samson saw the sun anew. He left the gates in the grass and dew. He went to a county seat anigh, found a harlot proud and high. Philistine that no man could tame, Delilah was her lady name. Oh, sorrow, sorrow, she was too wise. She cut off his hair, she put out his eyes. Let Samson be coming into your mind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
I Am by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Dave Silva. I am, yet what I am none cares or knows. My friends forsake me like a memory lost. I am the self-consumer of my woes. They rise and vanish in oblivious host, like shades in love, in death's oblivion lost. And yet I am, and live with shadows tossed into the nothingness of scorn and noise, into the living sea of waking dreams, where there's neither sense of life nor joys, but the vast shipwreck of my life's esteems. And even the dearest, that I love the best, are strange, nay, rather stranger than the rest. I long for scenes where man has never trod, a place where woman never smiled or wept. There, to abide with my Creator, God, and sleep, as I in childhood sweetly slept, untroubling and untroubled where I lie, the grass below, above, the vaulted sky. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Invective Against Gold by Anne Killigrew. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. An Invective Against Gold. Of all the poisons that the fruitful earth ere yet brought forth, or monsters she gave birth, naught to mankind has e'er so fatal been as thou, accursed gold, their care and sin. Methinks I, the adventurous merchant see, ploughing the faithless seas in search of thee, his dearest wife and children left behind, his real wealth, while he, a slave to the wind, sometimes becalmed the shore with longing eyes, wishes to see, and what he wishes, spies. For a rude tempest wakes him from his dream, and strands his bark by a more sad extreme. Thus hopeless wretch is his whole lifetime spent, and though thrice wrecked, is no wiser than he went. Again I see the heavenly fare despised, a hag like hell, with gold more highly prized, men's faith betrayed, their prince and country sold, their God denied, all for the idle gold. Unhappy wretch, who first found out the ore, what kind of vengeance rests for thee in store? If Nebat's son, that Israel led astray, meet a severe reward at the last day, some strange unheard of judgment thou wilt find, with us has cause to sin, all humankind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Language of the Heart by Lizzie Wilson. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The language of the heart is full of love, taught here on earth by angels from above. It hath a spell of sad and wondrous power to soothe the soul in misery's darkest hour. Lightly it falls upon the stricken heart, new rapture to the spirit to impart. The language of the heart speaks in the eye, 'tis heard low-breathed in the half-stifled sigh, felt in the pressure of the trembling hand, as wildly from the loved, the cherished band, we turn and dash aside the parting tear, leaving behind all that on earth are dear. 'Tis not the language of coarse vulgar minds, its breathings are as soft as summer winds. Sweet are the tones of each low whispered word, by fancy's children only is it heard. In the sad requiem of the last farewell, its wail the secret of the heart doth tell. It throws a halo round the lips of youth, of glorious beauty the bright smile of truth. Dark eyes it lights up with a holier ray, and gentle blue ones melt beneath its sway. When the full heart beats low and the lips sigh, the heart's deep language murmurs softly by. That language breathes from out the flowery sod, rising like incense to the throne of God. It is that far-off music of the spheres, which the rapt child of fancy often hears. 'Tis breathed in all that's holy, pure, and fair, the lover's sigh, the gentle mother's prayer. When glances meet and not a word is said, but a prized hoard in memory's storehouse laid, o'er which we dream as fond hopes fade away, like the last lingering tints of dying day, the language of the heart, who hath not felt its influence, and before its altar knelt. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Laugh in Church by Anonymous, collected by J. Earl Clausen. Read for LibriVox.org by Ekaterina. She sat on a sliding cushion, that dear wee woman of 4, her feet in their shiny slippers hung dangling over the floor. She meant to be good, she had promised, and so with her big brown eyes she stared at the meeting-house windows and counted the crawling flies. She looked far up at the preacher, but she thought of the honeybees droning away at the blossoms that whitened the cherry trees. She thought of a broken basket, where curled in a dusky heap 4 sleek, round puppies with fringy ears lay snuggled and fast asleep. Such soft, warm bodies to cuddle, such queer little hearts to beat, such swift, round tongues to kiss, such sprawling, cushiony feet. She could feel in her clasping fingers the touch of a satiny skin and a cold, wet nose exploring the dimples under her chin. Then a sudden ripple of laughter ran over the parted lips, so quick that she could not catch it with her rosy fingertips. The people whispered, "Bless the child," as each one waked from a nap, but the dear wee woman hid her face for shame in her mother's lap. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Man of Songs by George MacDonald. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The Man of Songs. Thou wanderest in the land of dreams, O man of many songs. To thee the actual only seems, no realm to thee belongs. Seest thou those mountains in the east, O man of ready aim? Tea is the only vapors that thou seest in mountain form and name. Nay, nay, I know them all too well, each ridge and peak and dome. In that cloudland in one high dell nest my little home. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
Midnight by Thomas Hood. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Unfathomable night, how dost thou sweep over the flooded earth, and darkly hide the mighty city under thy full tide, making a silent palace for old Sleep, like his own temple under the hushed deep, where all the busy day he doth abide, and forth at the late dark outspreadeth wide his dusky wings, whence the cold waters sweep. How peacefully the living millions lie, lulled unto death beneath his poppy spells. There is no breath, no living stir, no cry, no tread of foot, no song, no music call, only the sound of melancholy bells, the voice of time, survivor of them all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Never Give All the Heart by William Butler Yeats. Read for LibriVox.org by Dave Silva. Never give all the heart, for love will hardly seem worth thinking of to passionate women if it seem certain, and they never dream that it fades out from kiss to kiss. For everything that's lovely is but a brief, dreamy, kind delight. Will never give the heart outright, For they, for all smooth lips can say, have given their hearts up to the play. And who could play it well enough, if deaf and dumb and blind with love? He that made this knows all the cost, for he gave all his heart and lost. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Give Me a Home by Augustus Treadwell, read for LibriVox.org by Julie Ann Thompson. Oh, give me a home by a purling stream, where the fair wild flowers grow, where the music sweet of the running brook is murmuring soft and low, where the vines shall clamber above my door, and the lovely eglantine shall, 'neath my window, its sweets exhale from its bed of mossy green, where the birds shall sing at the morning hours, and throughout the livelong day, to cheer my soul with their lively notes, and to chase dull care away. Yes, give me a home far away from men, on banks of a purling stream, where life with its golden hours shall pass away like a blissful dream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Old Man's Comforts and How He Gained Them by Robert Southey. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. You are old, Father William, the young man cried. The few locks which are left you are grey. You are hale, Father William, a hearty old man now. Tell me the reason, I pray. In the days of my youth, Father William replied, I remembered that youth would fly fast, and abuse not my health and my vigour at first, that I never might need them at last. You are old, Father William, the young man cried, and pleasures with youth pass away. And yet you lament not the days that are gone. Now tell me the reason, I pray. In the days of my youth, Father William replied, I remembered that youth could not last. I thought of the future, whatever I did, that I never might grieve for the past. You are old, Father William, the young man cried, and life must be hastening away. You are cheerful, and love to converse upon death. Now tell me the reason, I pray. I am cheerful, young man, Father William replied, let the cause thy attention engage. In the days of my youth I remembered my God, and he hath not forgotten my age. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Pippa's Song by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. The years at the spring, and days at the morn, mornings at 7, the hillsides dew pearled, the larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn. God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Poème d'automne by Langston Hughes. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. The autumn leaves are too heavy with color. The slender trees on the Vulcan road are dressed in scarlet and gold, like young courtesans waiting for their lovers. But soon the winter winds will strip their bodies bare, and then the sharp, sleet-stung caresses of the cold will be their only love. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Prayer by George MacDonald. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. Prayer. We doubt the world that tells us, ask, and ye shall have your prayer. We turn our thoughts as to a task with will constrained and rare. And yet we have these scanty prayers yield gold without alloy. O God, but he that trusts and dares must have a boundless joy. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
Raschi in Prague by Emma Lazarus. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. August 8, 2024. Raschi in Prague. Raschi of Troyes, the moon of Israel. The authoritative Talmudist returned from his wide wanderings under many skies to all the synagogues of the Orient, through Spain and Italy, the Isles of Greece, beautiful, dolorous, sacred Palestine, dead, obelisked Egypt, floral, musk-breathed Persia, laughing with bloom across the Caucasus, the interminable sameness of bare steppes, through dark luxuriance of Bohemian woods, and issuing on the broad, bright Moldau Vale, entered the gates of Prague. Here, too, his fame, being winged, preceded him. His people swarmed like bees to gather the rich honey-dew of learning from his lips. Amazement filled all eyes beholding him. No hoary sage, he who had sat in Egypt at the feet of Moses ben Maimuni, called him friend. Raschi the scholiast, poet, and physician, who bore the ponderous Bible's storied wisdom, the Mishnah's tangled lore at tip of tongue, light as a garland on a lance, appeared in the just ripened glory of a man. From his clear eye youth flamed magnificent, force masked by grace moved in his balanced frame. An intellectual, virile beauty reigned, dominant on domed brow, on fine, firm lips, an eagle profile cut in gilded bronze, strong, delicate as a head upon a coin, while as an aureole crowns a burning lamp, above all beauty of the body and brain, shone beauty of a soul benign with love, e'en as a tawny flock of huddled sheep, grazing each other's heels urged by one will, with bleat and baw following the weather's lead. O'er thee, wise shepherd, so o'er the Moldau bridge, trotted the throng of yellow-caftaned Jews, chattering, hustling, shuffling. At their head marched Rabbi Yochanan ben Eleazar, high priest in Prague, oldest and most revered, to greet the star of Israel. As a father yearns toward his son, so toward the noble Raschi leapt at first sight the patriarch's fresh-old heart. My home be thine in Prague. Be thou my son, who have no offspring save one simple girl. See, glorious youth, who dost renew the days of David and of Samuel, early graced with God's anointing oil. How Israel delights to honor who hath honored him. Then Raschi, though he felt a ball of fire globe itself in his throat, maintained his calm, his cheeks opaque swart pallor while he kissed, silent the rabbi's withered hand, and bowed, divinely humble, his exalted head, craving the benison. For each who asked, he had the word of counsel, comfort, help. For all rich eloquence of thanks, his voice, even and grave, thrilled secret chords and set plain speech to music. Certain folk were there, sick in the body, dragging painful limbs. To the physician, these he solaced first, with healing touch, with simples from his pouch, warming and lulling, best with promises of constant service till their ills were cured. And some, grey-bearded, bald, and curved with age, blear-eyed from poring over lines obscure, and naughty riddles of the Talmud, brought their problems to this youth, who cleared and solved, yielding prompt answer to a lifetime's search. Then followed, pushed by his obsequious tribe, who fain had pedestaled him on their backs, hemming his steps, choking the airs of heaven with their oppressive honors. He advanced, midst shouts, tumultuous welcomes, kisses showered upon his road-stained garments, through Prague streets, gaped at by Gentiles, hissed at and reviled, but no whit altering his majestic mien, from overwhelming plaudits or contempt. Glad tidings Raschi brought from west and east, of thriving synagogues, of famous men, and flourishing academies. In Rome, the papal treasurer was a pious Jew, Rabbi Yehiel, 'neath whose patronage prospered a noble school. 200 Jews dwelt free and paid no tributary mark. 300 lived in peace at Capua, shepherded by the learned Rabbi David, a prince of Israel. In Babylon, the Jews established their academy, another still in Baghdad, from whose chair preached the great rabbi, Samuel Ha-Levi, versed in the written and the oral law, who blindfold could repeat the whole vast text of Mishnah and Gemara. On the banks of Eden-born Euphrates, one day's ride from Baghdad, Raschi found in the wilderness, which once was Babylon, Ezekiel's tomb. Thrice 10 perpetual lamps starred the dim shrine. 200 sentinels held the sleepless vigil, receiving offerings. At the Feast of Booths, here crowded Jews by thousands, out of Persia, from all the neighboring lands to celebrate the glorious memories of the golden days. 10,000 Jews with their academy, Damascus boasted, while in Cairo shone the pearl, the crown of Israel, Ben Maimuni, physician at the court of Saladin, the second Moses, gathering at his feet sages from all the world. As Raschi spake, forgetting or ignoring the chief shrine, the exile's home, whereunto yearned all hearts, all ears were strained for tidings. Someone asked, "What of Jerusalem? Speak to us of Zion." The light died from his eyes. From depths profound issued his grave, great voice, "Alas for Zion! Verily is she fallen, where our race, dictated to the nations, not a handful, nay, not a score, not 10, not 2, abide. One, only one solitary Jew, the Rabbi Abraham Hasiba, flits ghost-like amid the ruins. Every year beggars himself to pay the idolaters the costly tax for leave to hold agape his heart's live wound, to weep a mendicant amidst the crumbled stones of palaces where reigned his ancestors, upon the graves where sleep the priests, the prophets, and the kings, who were his forefathers. Ask me no more." Now, when the French Jew's advent was proclaimed, and his tumultuous greeting, envious growls and ominous eye-beams threatened storm in Prague. Who may this miracle of learning be? The Antichrist, the century-long awaited, the hourly hoped Messiah come at last. Else dared they never wax so arrogant, flaunting their monstrous joy in Christian eyes, and strutting peacock-like with hideous screams, who are wont to crawl, mute reptiles underfoot. A stone or two flung at some servile form, liveried in the yellow gabardine, with secret happiness but half suppressed, on features cast for misery, served at first for chance expression of the rabble's hate, but, swelling like a snowball rolled along by mischief-plotting boys, the rage increased, grew to a mighty mass, until it reached the palace of Duke Vladislaw. He heard with righteous wrath his injured subjects charge against presumptuous aliens, how these blot his avenues, his bridges, bared to the sun the canker taint of Prague's obscurest coin, paraded past the churches of the Lord, one who denied him, one by them hailed Christ. Enough! This cloud, no bigger than one's hand, gains overweening bulk. Prague harbored first, out of contemptuous ruth, a wretched band of outcast paupers, gave them leave to ply their money-lending trade, and leased them land on all too facile terms. Behold, today, like leeches bloated with the people's blood, they batten on Bohemia's poverty. They breed and grow, like adders, spit back hate and venomed perfidy for Christian love. Thereat the Duke, urged by wise counselors, Narzarad the statesman, half whose wealth was pledged to the usurers, abetted by the priest, Bishop of Olmutz, who had visited the Holy Sepulchre, whose long, full life was one clean record of pure piety. The Duke, I say, by these persuasive tongues, coaxed to his darling aim, forbade his guards to hinder the just anger of his town, and ordered to be led in chains to him, the pilgrim and his host. At noontide meal, Raschi sat full of peace, but Yochanan, and the sole daughter of the house, Rebecca, young, beautiful as her namesake when she brought her firm, frail pitcher balanced on her neck unto the well, and gave the stranger drink, and gave his camels drink. The servants set the sparkling jars refreshment from his lips, and saw the virgin's face, bright as the moon, beam from the curled luxuriance of black locks, and cast back linen veil soft-folded cloud, then put the golden earring by her cheek, the bracelets on her hands, his master's pledge, Isaac's betrothal gift, whom she should wed, and be the mother of millions, one whose seed dwells in the gates of those which hate them. So yearned Raschi to adorn the radiant girl, who sat at board before him, nor dared lift shy heavy lids from pupils black as grapes that dart the imprisoned sunshine from their core. But in her ears keen sense was born to catch, and in her heart strange power to hold, each tone of the low-keyed vibrant voice, each syllable of the eloquent discourse enriched with tales of venturous travel, brilliant with fine points of delicate humor, or illustrated with living portraits of world-famous men, Jews, Saracens, Crusaders, Islamites, whose hand he had grasped, the iron warrior, Godfrey of Bouillon, the wise infidel, who in all strength, wit, courtesy excelled the kings his foes, imperial Saladin. But even as Raschi spake, an abrupt noise of angry shouts, of battering staves that shook the oaken portal, stopped the enchanted voice. The uplifted wine spilled from the nerveless hand of Rabbi Yochanan. God pity us! Our enemies are upon us once again. Hide thee, Rebecca, to the inmost chamber, far from their wanton eyes' polluting gaze, their desecrating touch. Kiss me, be gone. Raschi, my guest, my son. But no word more uttered the reverend man. With one huge crash, the strong doors split asunder, pouring in a stream of soldiers, ruffians armed with pikes, lances, and clubs. The unchained beast, the mob. Behold the town's new guest, cheered one who tossed the half-filled golden wine-cup's contents straight in the noble, pure young face. What, Master Jew? Must your good friends of Prague break bolts and bars to gain a peep at this prodigious pearl you bury in your shell? Forth to the day! Our Duke himself claims share of your new wealth, summons to court the Jew philosopher. Then, while some stuff their pokes but bauble snatched from board and shelf, or with malignant sword slash the rich orient rugs, the pictured wolf that clothed the wall. Others had seized and bound, and gagged from speech, the helpless aged man. Still others outraged with coarse, violent hands, the marble pale, rigid as stone, strange youth, whose eye like struck flint flashed, whose nether lip was threaded with a scarlet line of blood, where the compressed teeth fixed it too forced calm. He struggled not while his free limbs were tied, his beard plucked, torn, and spat upon his robe, seemed scarce to know these insults were for him, but never swerved his gaze from Yochanan. Then, in God's language, sealed from these dumb brutes, swiftly and low he spake, Be of good cheer, reverend old man, I deign not treat with these. If one dare offer bodily hurt to thee, by the ineffable name I snap my chains, like gossamer, and in his blood to the hilt bathe the prompt knife hid in my girdle's folds. The Duke shall hear me. Patience, trust in me. Somewhat the authoritative voice abashed, e'en hoarse and changed, the miscreants who feared some strong curse lurked in this mysterious tongue, armed with this evil eye, but brief the spell. With jibe and scoff they dragged their victims forth, the abused old man, the proud insulted youth, o'er the late path of his triumphal march, befouled with mud, with raiment torn, wild hair, and ragged beard, to Vladislaw. He sat expectant in his cabinet. On one side, his secular adviser, Nazarad, quick-eyed, sharp-nosed, red-whiskered as a fox. On the other hand, his spiritual guide, Bishop of Olmutz, unctuous, large, and bland. So these twain are chief culprits, sneered the Duke, measuring with the noble's ignorant scorn, his masters of a lesser caste. Stand forth, rash, stubborn, vain old man, whose impudence hath choked the public highways with thy brood of nasty vermin, by our sufferance hid in lanes obscure, who hailed this charlatan with sky-flung caps, bent knees, and echoing shouts, due to ourselves alone in Prague, yea, worse, who offered worship even ourselves disclaim, our Lord Christ's meed, to this blaspheming Jew. Thy crimes have murdered patience. Thou hast wrecked thy people's fortune with thy own. But first, for even in anger we are just, recount with how great compensation from thy store of hoarded gold and jewels thou wilt buy remission of the penalty. Be wise. Hark how my subjects, storming through the streets, vent on thy tribe accurse their well-based wrath. And truly, through closed casements roared the noise of mighty surging crowds' derisive cries, and victims' screams of anguish and affright. Then Raschi, royal in his rags, began, "Hear me, my liege." At that commanding voice, the bishop, who with dazed eyes had perused the grieved, wise, beautiful, pale face, sprang up, quick recognition in his glance, warm joy aflame on his broad cheeks. "No more, no more, thou art the man. Give me the hand to kiss that raised me from the shadow of the grave in Jaffa's Lazar house. Listen, my liege. During my pilgrimage to Palestine, I, sickened with the plague and nigh to death, languished mid strangers. All my crumbling flesh, one rotten mass of sores, a thing for dogs to shy from, shunned by Christian as by Turk, when lo, this clean-breathed, pure-souled, blessed youth, whom I, not knowing for an infidel, seeing featured like the Christ, believed a saint, sat by my pillow, charmed the sting from pain, quenched the fierce fever's heat, defeated death, and when I was made whole, had disappeared, no man knew whither, leaving no more trace than a re-risen angel. This is he." Then Raschi, who had stood erect, nor quailed from glances of hot hate or crazy wrath, now sank his eagle gaze, stooped his high head, veiling his glowing brow, returned the kiss of brother love upon the Christian's hand, and dropping on his knees implored the three, "Grace for my tribe, they are what ye have made. If any be among them fawning, false, insatiable, revengeful, ignorant, mean, and there are many such, ask your own hearts, what virtues ye would yield for planted hate, ribald contempt, forced menial servitude, slow centuries of vengeance for a crime ye never did commit. Mercy for these, who bear on back and breast the scathing brand of scarlet degradation, who are clothed in ignominious livery, whose bowed necks are broken with the yoke. Change these to men. That were a noble witchcraft simply wrought, God's alchemy transforming clods to gold. If there be one among them strong and wise, whose lips anoint breathe poetry and love, whose brain and heart served ever Christian need, and there are many such, for his dear sake, lest he chance murder one of God's high priests, spare his thrice wretched tribe. Believe me, sirs, who have seen various lands, searched various hearts, I have yet to touch that undiscovered shore, have yet to fathom that impossible soul, where a true benefit's forgot, where one slight deed of common kindness sown yields not, as now, as here, abundant crop of love. Every good act of man, our Talmud says, creates an angel hovering by his side. Oh, what a shining host, great Duke, shall guard thy consecrated throne, for all the lives thy mercy spares, for all the tears thy ruth stops at the source. Behold this poor old man, last of a line of princes stricken in years, as thy dead father would have been today. Was that white beard a rag for obscene hands to tear, a weed for lumpish clowns to pluck? Was that benignant venerable face fit target for their foul throats' voided rheum? That wrinkled flesh made to be pulled and pricked, wounded by flinty pebbles and keen steel? Behold the prostrate patriarchal form, bruised, silent, chained, Duke, such is Israel. Unbind these men, commanded Vladislaw. Go forth and still the tumult of my town. Let no Jew suffer violence. Raschi, rise, thou who hast served the Christ with this priest's life, who is my spirit's counselor. Christ serves thee. Return among thy people with my seal, the talisman of safety. Let them know the Duke's their friend. Go, publish the glad news. Raschi the Savior, Raschi the Messiah, back to the Jewry carried peace and love. But Narzarad fed his venomed heart with gall, vowing to give his fatal hatred vent. Despite a world of weak, fantastic dukes and heretic bishops, He fulfilled his vow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Riders of the Stars by Henry Herbert Nibbs. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. 20 abreast down the golden street, 10,000 riders marched. Bow-legged boys in their swinging chaps, all clumsily keeping time. And the angel host to the lone last ghost, their delicate eyebrows arched, as the swaggering sons of the open range drew up to the throne sublime. Gaunt and grizzled, a Texas man from out of the concourse strode, and doffed his hat with a rude, rough grace, then lifted his eagle head. The sunlit air on his silvered hair and the bronze of his visage glowed. "Master, the boys have a talk to make on the things up here," he said. A hush ran over the waiting throng as the cherubim replied, "He that readeth the hearts of men, he deemeth your challenge strange, though he long hath known that ye crave your own, that ye would not walk betrayed. O restless sons of the ancient earth, ye men of the open range." Then warily spake the Texas man, "A petition, and no complaint, we here present. If the law allows, and the master he thinks it fit, we all agree to the things that be, but we're longing for things that ain't. So we took a vote, and we made a plan, and here is the plan we writ. Give us a range, and our horses and ropes, open the pearly gate, and turn us loose in the unfenced blue, riding the sunset rounds, hunting each stray in the Milky Way, and running the rancho straight, not crowding the doggy stars too much on their way to the bedding grounds. Maverick comets that's running wild, we'll rope 'em and brand 'em fair, so they'll quit stampeding the starry herd and scaring the folks below. And we'll save 'em prime for the roundup time, and we riders'll all be there, ready and willing to do our work as we did in the long ago. We've studied the ancient landmarks, sir, Taurus, the Bear, and Mars, and Venus is smiling across the west as bright as a burning coal, plain to guide us as we punchers ride at night herding the little stars, with Saturn's rings for our home corral and the Dipper our water hole. Here we have nothing to do but yarn of the days that have long gone by, and our singing it doesn't fit in up here, though we tried it for old time's sake. Our hands are itching to swing a rope, and our legs are stiff. That's why we ask you, master, to turn us loose. Just give us an even break." Then the Lord, he spake to the cherubim, and this was his kindly word. "He that keepeth the threefold keys shall open and let them go. Turn these men to their work again, to ride with the starry herd. My glory sings in the toil they crave. 'Tis their right. I would have it so. Have you heard in the starlit dusk of eve, when the lone coyotes roam, the yip, yip, yip of a hunting cry, and the echo that shrilled afar, as you listened still on a desert hill and gazed at the twinkling dome, and a viewless rider swept the sky on the trail of a shooting star?" End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Sea of Death, a fragment, by Thomas Hood, read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Methought I saw life swiftly treading over endless space, and at her footprint, but a bygone pace, the ocean passed, which with increasing wave swallowed her steps like a pursuing grave. Sad were my thoughts that anchored silently on the dead waters of that passionless sea, unstirred by any touch of living breath. Silence hung over it, and drowsy death, like a gorged sea-bird, slept with folded wings on crowded carcasses, sad passive things that wore the thin gray surface like a veil, over the calmness of their features pale. And there were spring-faced cherubs that did sleep like water lilies on that motionless deep. How beautiful, with bright unruffled hair, on sleek unfretted brows, and eyes that were buried in marble tombs, a pale eclipse, and smile-bedimpled cheeks and pleasant lips meekly apart, as if the soul intense spake out in dreams of its own innocence. And so they lay in loveliness, and kept the birthnight of their peace, that life e'en wept with very envy of their happy fronts. For there were neighbor brows scarred by the brunts of strife and sorrowing, where care had set his crooked autograph, and marred the jet of glassy locks, with hollow eyes forlorn, and lips that curled in bitterness and scorn, wretched as they had breathed of this world's pain, and so bequeathed it to the world again, through the beholder's heart, in heavy sighs. So lay they garmented in torpid light, under the pall of a transparent night, like solemn apparitions lulled sublime to everlasting rest. And with them Time slept, as he sleeps upon the silent face of a dark dial in a sunless place.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Serenity by Lord Byron. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. Here's a sigh to those who love me, and a smile to those who hate. And whatever sky's above me, here's a heart for every fate. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet, written in a volume of Shakspeare, by Thomas Hood, read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. How bravely autumn paints upon the sky the gorgeous fame of summer, which is fled, hues of all flowers that in their ashes lie, trophied in that fair light whereon they fed. Tulip and hyacinth and sweet rose red, like exhalations from the leafy mold, look here how honor glorifies the dead, and warms their scutcheons with a glance of gold. Such is the memory of poets old, who on Parnassus hill have bloomed elate. Now they are laid under their marbles cold, and turned to clay, whereof they were create. But God Apollo hath them all enrolled, and blazoned on the very clouds of fate.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Thanatopsis by William Cullen Bryant. Read for LibriVox.org by Wesley Miriello. To him who in love of nature holds communion with her visible forms, she speaks of various language. For his gayer hours she has a voice of gladness and a smile and eloquence of beauty, and she glides into his darker musings with a mild and healing sympathy that steals away their sharpness ere he is aware. When thoughts of the last bitter hour come like a blight over thy spirit, and sad images of stern agony in shroud and pall, and breathless darkness and the narrow house, make thee to shudder and grow sick at heart, go forth under the open sky and list to nature's teachings, while from all around, earth and her waters, and the depths of air, comes a still voice. Yet a few days, and thee the all-beholding sun shall see no more in all his course, nor yet in the cold ground where thy pale form was laid with many tears, nor in the embrace of ocean shall exist thy image. Earth that nourished thee, shall claim thy growth, to be resolved to earth again. And, lost each human trace, and surrendering up thine individual being, shalt thou go to mix forever with the elements, to be a brother to the insensible rock and to the sluggish clod, which the rude swain turns with his share and treads upon. The oak shall send his roots abroad and pierce thy mould. Yet not to thine eternal resting place shalt thou retire alone, nor couldst thou wish couch more magnificent. Thou shalt lie down with the patriarchs of the infant world, with kings, the powerful of the earth, the wise, the good, fair forms and hoary seers of ages past, all in one mighty sepulchre. The hills, rock-ribbed and ancient as the sun, the vales stretching in pensive quietness between, the venerable woods, rivers that move in majesty, and the complaining brooks that make the meadows green. And, poured round all, old ocean's grey and melancholy waste, are but the solemn decorations all of the great tomb of man. The golden sun, the planets, all the infinite host of heaven, are shining on the sad abodes of death. Through the still lapse of ages, all that tread the globe are but a handful to the tribes that slumber in its bosom. Take the wings of morning, and the bark in desert pierce, or lose thyself in the continuous woods where rolls the Oregon, and hears no sound, save his own dashings, yet the dead are there. And millions in those solitudes, since first the flight of years began, have laid them down in their last sleep. The dead reign there alone. So shalt thou rest, and what if thou withdraw unheeded by the living, and no friend take note of thy departure? All that breath will share thy destiny. The gay will laugh when thou art gone, the solemn brood of care plod on, and each one, as before, will chase his favorite phantom. Yet all these shall leave their mirth and their employments, and shall come and make their bed with thee. As the long train of ages glide away, the sons of men, the youth in life's green spring, and he who goes in full strength of years, matron and maid, and the sweet babe and the grey-headed man, shall one by one be gathered to thy side, by those who in their turn shall follow them. So live, that when thy summons come to join the innumerable caravan that moves to the mysterious realm where each shall take his chamber in the silent halls of death, thou go not like the quarry slave at night, scourged to his dungeon, but, sustained and soothed by an unfaltering trust, approach thy grave, like one who wraps the drapery of his couch about him and lies down to pleasant dreams. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To a Child of Quality by Matthew Prior. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. Lords, knights, and squires, the numerous band that wear the fair Miss Mary's fetters, were summoned by her high command to show their passions by their letters. My pen amongst the rest I took, lest those bright eyes that cannot read should dart their kindling fires, and look the power they have to be obeyed. Nor quality, nor reputation forbids yet my flame to tell. Dear 5 years old befriends my passion, and I may write till she can spell. For while she makes her silkworms' beds, with all the tender things I swear, whilst all the house my passion reads in papers round her baby's hair. She may receive and own my flame, for though the strictest prude should know it, she'll pass for a most virtuous dame, and I for an unhappy poet. Then too, alas, when she shall tear the rhyme some younger rival sends, she'll give me leave to write, I fear, and we shall still continue friends. For as our different ages move, 'tis so ordained, would fate but mend it, that I shall be past making love when she begins to comprehend it. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To J.M.V.B. Missing, believed killed, July 1st, 1916. Read for LibriVox.org by MoonLylith. We who have known you in the golden past, drunk of the depths of love which flowed from you, drawn from your life ideals for our own, of joy and peace and thankfulness to God. We, for whose sake at home, abroad, or where the great, calm, silent mountains tower around, the sun of gladness shone in days gone by, and taught us how to work and sing the whiles. 'Tis ours to praise and pray, not to mourn if you are gone, to live your spotless life in lands where joy is perfected and love shines in the radiancy of God Himself. Ours to fulfill His will, who gave us you, and thank Him for a memory of gold. How you have felt what 'tis to be afraid, and yet have feared not, knowing well that he who knows not fear has not a brave man's heart. How you have stood alone in what you thought, and faltered not, despite a world of scorn. How you have seen the hideousness of sin, and grown to wisdom, keeping yet the charm of innocence, because you ever hoped, and hoping filled your life with cheerfulness. How you have loved as only they can love who know the heart of God, and how He loves. Courage and strength and innocence and love have found in you their happy dwelling place. And what is death that He should take away what God has given, when God and love are one? But now, as we look back on this bright day, this day of cloudless skies and hopes still young, knowing that we shall never any more see other morns as clear, now as we gaze back on the glowing fields and purple hills, where beams a love whose light shall never die, rising from out the sunset of dead hopes, let us give thanks, and in the track you trod, go forward through the night, eyes ever turned towards that dawn, whose coming shall reveal the heavenly lands where you have gone before. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Verses on a Cat by Charles Daubeny. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. Clubby, thou surely art, I ween, a puss of most majestic mien, so stately all thy paces. With such a philosophic air thou seek'st thy professional chair, and so demure thy face is. And as thou sitt'st, thine eyes seem fraught with such intensity of thought, that could we read it, knowledge would seem to breathe in every mew, and learning yet undreamt by you who dwell in hall or college. O when in solemn taciturnity thy brain seems wandering through eternity, what happiness were mine could I then catch the thoughts that flow, thoughts such as ne'er were hatched below but in a head like thine. Oh, then throughout the livelong day with thee I'd sit and purr away in ecstasy sublime, and in thy face, as from a book, I'd drink in science at each look, nor fear the lapse of time. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When the Birds Go North Again by Ella Higginson. Read read.LibriVox.org by M. Lee. Oh, every year hath its winter, and every year hath its rain, but a day is always coming when the birds go north again, when new leaves swell in the forest, and grass springs green on the plain, and the alder's veins turn crimson, and the birds go north again. Oh, every heart hath its sorrow, and every heart hath its pain, but a day is always coming when the birds go north again. 'Tis the sweetest thing to remember, if courage be on the wane. When the cold, dark days are over, why, the birds go north again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Windwraith by Sister Madaleva Wolfe. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. A shy ghost of a wind was out, tiptoeing through the air at dawn, and though I could not see nor hear her anywhere, I felt her lips just brush my cheek, her fingers touch my hair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Young Moon by Sister Madaleva Wolfe. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. He comes, a gay and golden star, climbing the topmost hills of night. Past where white mountain summits are, he takes his perilous path of light, gallant and bright. A cavalier of plume and curl is he, upon his lady's quest. Look where she goes, exquisite girl, in whiteness of shy silver dressed, walking the west. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. You Sang in My Dream by Sister Madaleva Wolfe. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. You sang to me, dear, last night through all of my dreaming. Oh, why did you sing? To know that your song and my joy are only seeming is a bitter thing. For into your voice all our multiplied loves came thronging. Dreams have heartless ways. And then I awoke to this numb, inarticulate longing of silent days. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.